Hey Damien, how's it going?
Doing well. For some reason, I had a lot of trouble getting the thing to connect today. It's like I had
Oh,
to
really?
click on it, like different spots and multiple different. And I don't understand it. Zoom just does that sometimes. Like sometimes it's like one click and it'll connect, and this
Yeah.
one it just didn't want to go through. And I
It took
wish,
persistence to get to this one,
yeah.
I guess. I haven't heard from Amy. I know she has a busy week based on the steering committee meeting that we had. I can't remember if she's doing the echo today or not. Um, Poor Anna, she went from having a difficult time with the double vaccination shot, and she just wrote that she has a head cold. So we hope that you feel better soon. Um, so I'm just gonna kick off the meeting, and if people hop on when they join us, that's great. We just had a few things to talk about today. Sean, nice seeing you again. Nice teaming up this morning. It's been a while. So Sean and I went to the Public Health Council event with legislators, senators from both Vermont and New Hampshire. And the focus was on big picture, early childhood education, housing, and like the dire need for health professionals. So it was kind of getting the word out about those major topics. Um, Sean, did you know the senator from Vermont who spoke about Act 76? Who was that?
Clarkson, Senator Clarkson.
Okay, she looked familiar to me. Um, and so there was this little back and forth between Vermont and New Hampshire. And Vermont was really celebratory of their work. And some of the New Hampshire folks were saying that's because of, basing it on taxes and things like that. But there was a New Hampshire person who, I don't know if he was sitting at your table, Sean, or he was near your table, talking about that early childhood education is being more heard, and that a big push from businesses really helped Vermont legislation go through, and that clicked in my mind as something that we don't have as many businesses coming to our meetings as we used to. So I want to circle back around and see how we can involve them. Maybe get a hold of Tracy Hutchins. Haven't had a chance to talk with her in a couple months, and kind of rally the troops on the New Hampshire side. Amy's not here, but I will share that oh, there she is. She's just coming home. As we've heard, the career cultivator is going very well. Amy, Carolyn Isabel, and Sarah Jackson, and Erica from the tech center were all at the public health committee meeting this morning. So it was really great. In different ways, Sean and I talked about early childhood education. Erica talked about the tech center and the many things that they do to feed the pipeline. I thought Carolyn Isabel did a great job of presenting all of the pieces that the hospital is facing, but also in a way giving people ideas as how to support. So your name came up because I mentioned it intentionally as part of the great work of the career cultivator, and how that is bringing non-traditional folks into the field. I mentioned the 77% substitute filling, and continued support for that program. There was a person there from Vermont State Universities who mentioned, and I have her contact information, a lot of scholarship funding and money that they are getting for workforce. And I don't know if we've tapped into the Vermont State University programs, but it might be a worthwhile connection to talk with her. She was super knowledgeable. I think her name might have been Kate. Maybe
No, it's Sarah Truckle.
Sarah. Okay.
Sarah Truckle.
Do you know her from other things too, Sean, or
Yeah,
just
yeah,
from?
she works from University of Vermont. And it's federal funds that go to state university systems. Our state could take advantage of it too. It's not state money, it's federal money.
Okay.
And, certainly the community colleges, that would be probably the most appropriate location that to educate early childhood, educators.
Amy, did you know of a location in Norwich where they have a site? She mentioned that today and I was unfamiliar with that. Do you know where it is, Sean? Where is it in Norwich?
I don't know where it is, but it's part of their community college system in Vermont. They have a satellite location in Norwich that does early childhood education.
Didn't know that. Did you know that, Amy? Have you already connected with them?
I feel like I knew that. I think it's just like I think it's it's just like a meeting room or training. It's not like there's a full training site.
Maybe worthwhile for
Um,
me to circle back around.
There's a ton of money in Vermont and New Hampshire. In New Hampshire, that's the money we've been able to tap for free to do 6 credits for this workforce program.
I wondered, okay.
Same money. And then we're also going to be tapping that in New Hampshire again. We're going to experiment with 4 people to transition their CDA into 9 credits.
Mm.
And just kind of experiment with the process because there's a lot of money out there. Vermont has a loan forgiveness program. They've got a lot of things going. The difference is that these people have to be employed already. And that's kind of like the opposite of what we're doing. We're doing something before the people who are just thinking about it, but don't know really they want to do it or how to get into it. And we've separated ourselves and doing just the MOU with NHCI for the 6 credits specifically for that reason, because these people would not come into it if it were traditional college program. They're not gonna do an entry test. They're not gonna do a math or a basic math test or a basic reading test. A lot of the schools have you do. This is sort of that population.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Makes
really
sense.
a hands-on practicum focused program and pre-hire. As far as working people into the system, we make people well aware, and if we have anybody in Vermont that gets their CDA, because they have these monetary awards as well as you get certain levels of education in Vermont. So we've been making sure that they apply for their $500 bonus or whatever it is when they get their CDA, or if they get their associate's degree, or as they go up the ladder. So I think it would be nice to just have that connection in conversation. If something
just a
comes along,
conversation, right? Just make sure we're ticking off all the boxes, or they just might have something that we didn't know. Or if asked in the future, have you connected with Sarah? We can say, yes, we have. We had a great conversation, and maybe it doesn't fit or something. She has a lot of energy and a lot of knowledge. So I thought that was a person that I would like to reconnect with based on this. Sean, did you know, it sounds like you knew a lot of people in the room. Did you hear anything new, or is the same old kind of back and forth that you've heard for a long time?
Well, no, I mean, there's some encouraging things again that are going on from our side that we should pay attention to see if we can emulate. One of the things that Senator Clarkson talked about is their scholarship program is 575% of the poverty level. Ours in New Hampshire got increased to 300%. So they're going a little bit higher, which is good because that's more the folks that are in, it grabs more the people in the middle income range, not just low income. So that's I like Vermont's approach on that. But still, New Hampshire, that's a major step forward to get to 300%. But the difference is New Hampshire's not really doing anything to advertise it, so most people won't even know about it. Like they didn't know about the previous program. Whereas it sounds like I don't live in Vermont, but it sounds like Vermont is doing a lot better job of making people aware these funds are available. And of course, that's key, right? What'll happen in New Hampshire will say, well, we increased it 300%, but nobody took advantage of it, or very few people. Well, yeah, because they're not mind readers, they got to know what's going on. I've been waiting for the information from DHHS so that I can get it out to my employees to encourage people to, those who may qualify for that. So anyway, but again, it was a good discussion. It's good bringing the two of them together, both legislators. And the other one you talk about, his name was Dick McCormick, Senator McCormick.
Okay,
You see that at my table. But I think it's always valuable for the folks at the policy level to be made aware of the struggles that we're facing and know what's going on. And hopefully they'll make some decisions that are advantageous to us and not contrary.
was he Vermont or New Hampshire? New Hampshire.
He's from Vermont. Yeah.
Oh, Vermont, okay.
Our senator was not there. They have more senators from Vermont than we do. Per their senate's bigger than ours is.
I thought it was a good turnout.
Yeah.
Brian Sullivan, he was there, right? Do you know
Brian
Brian
Sullivan.
Sullivan? I was thinking that was him sitting across. He left a little bit early. I was going to.
Oh, yes. Yep. Up at the top.
He used to do all the school negotiations and ran all of that. That's how you see someone you recognize and you can't figure out how you knew them in a past life. Then when he went to leave, I'm like, oh, Brian Sullivan did all the negotiations. So he's somebody that I want to connect with as well, because I just haven't seen him in years. Figured take him out to lunch. We won't be negotiating against each other. And it should be a pleasant lunch, and just to kind of pick his brain about ways for getting the word out in our work too. So any other takeaways from that this morning?
They're all interrelated, of course, housing, right? And the
Yeah.
lack of healthcare providers is because there isn't housing and there isn't childcare to be able to meet those needs of folks, basic needs for our workforce. And
Right.
it's not just a social issue or an equity issue; it's an economic issue.
Mhm.
And we're starting to get people pay attention to that. So,
Right.
good thing.
Yeah. Right. You talked a little bit about it this morning, Sean. Do you want to mention at all any updates about the center? You're seeking funding, proposals coming out soon or something like that?
So we have on our calendars, Chris, Eamon, and I, dates to meet with different corporate partners. So we're going through
Great.
that process as part of our capital campaign, and nothing really to report at this point. But we've got meetings with a number of people scheduled, and we'll see how they go.
Great. Damien, last time we spoke with you, it was still kind of some hurdles. How is it looking for you at this point?
Well, I mean, good news. We did finally get our the congressional directed funding earmark that was being passed through Let's Go Kids and through HUD since Leahy left. We finally got the grant agreement for that, so that's wrapped up, as well as our USDA loan, which allowed us to put together the packet of stuff that we still have this issue with CRP, our Vermont funding, who's requiring all these stuff above and beyond everybody else. So we sent them an email today with the updates of those agreements being approved, as well as one of the other things which was the last kind of hold up on that, is they were requiring that both the lease be executed and a legal opinion stating that the documents were legally binding, which were both kind of odd requirements and challenging to provide, because of course while we have a approved form of lease by the board of our child care provider and GMEDC, we can't finalize it until we have the final numbers for the rent payment, which we're not going to have until we're well into construction, because all that's going to depend on what happens in the construction phase and what's the final debt numbers are. And same thing with the legal opinion. We can, have the draft legal opinion, which again, it was a really odd requirement I haven't seen before, because even our lawyers were, kind of like, well, a legal opinion that a lease and other documents are legally binding. I mean, it's I don't know if anybody else has seen that, but it's one of those things that just leave us scratching the head of who came up with it from the state and why. But of course, they can't finalize that legal opinion either until the lease is executed, which won't happen for some time down the road. So we included those drafts with the board resolutions, with the submission, with everything else in it, basically saying, this is the best we can give you. You know, we need this funding to fund the project work that we need to move forward with the project. So you need to hopefully eventually release it. But so we'll see how they respond. But it's been a frustrating process for them because every time we check off boxes, they seem to come up with something new to avoid releasing the money, which is just strange. But that's where we are. Some mostly good news. Hopefully, if we can get that CRRP money actually being released, that'll be even better news. And then it'll be the issue of just the construction timing, which, you know, there's only so much we can do about that. But
I saw Sean shaking his head when you were talking about all these things that you, just like you said, you literally, we come to a meeting, you go, here's what we're gonna do, you do it, and then you come back and you go, and now they're asking us to do that. So
we just need to do this and we just need that. And then you come back and it's like, but okay, that's great, but now we need this. And it's like, well,
yeah.
Did you tell me it's this ever-changing kind of rules of the game on that, which is different when then the federal funding sources, I mean, they can be drawn out and take a long time and delayed, but at least we generally know what the rules are and what we need to check off. It's just getting it all done. It's these shifting state requirements and not knowing who is making the decisions and where and why, because they're not based on anything that's in statute or any really written forms. They're just kind of being plucked out of the blue from somebody in the process. And it raises this other interesting issues of also when you go up the chain of command, which we do have potentially the ability to do at one point, but you don't want to do it unless you know it's the last option, because you don't want to also antagonize the people who you need to work with on it. So
right, the small network that you have
very challenging dynamic.
Yeah. Well, we're glad that you're continuing on that, and thanks for keeping us in the loop about that. And Julie and Faye, we do see you. We know that you, Julie, you're with your little one, and Faye, you're listening in. So hello, just want to say hi. Oh, hello, hi. How old is your little one?
– Just about 11 months.
Oh, sweet.
Getting ready to walk. A lot of fun.
Oh, fantastic. I know that Anna's not feeling very well. I know that when we talked at the last meeting in regard to ECE food resources, they are reviewing the data and putting together a report. Part of what was happening was it was very individualized based on the individual provider's needs. So there wasn't a one-stop solution. And I know that they are looking into large picture ideas as well as small things that can help people right away. Anna, did you want to add anything more to that?
Yeah,
Great.
excuse my nasally voice. Yeah, so we're working on laying out an outline for what the report might look like. And that's sort of turning into a 2-part report. So the first part would be what we found from the survey and the possible next steps. And then after we develop a pilot project, then we can do the part 2 of the report and say, here's what we did for the pilot. This is why it worked or didn't work. We're also working on categorizing all of the options for what would work for providers that came out of the survey. So we're categorizing them in what vital communities could possibly do, and what the greatest needs are, and see where those alignments lie. We're also right now working on developing a system for focus groups of providers. So we were originally going to send out 2 surveys, but ECE providers have just been loaded with surveys. So we're thinking that if we give a stipend and host a dinner or maybe not even in person, but over Zoom would probably be easier on a weekend or a weeknight, just to create a space for providers to bounce ideas off of each other instead of just me talking to one provider about what they need. So the idea there is to dig deeper into their survey results and what they need and what they've seen that has worked.
Yeah, that makes sense. Great. What's the time frame for that? Do you have a time frame for the survey results and categorizing things?
Yeah, so categorizing things will be definitely done by this week. I was gonna do it today, but I don't know if my brain can
Probably not a
compute.
good idea.
And then in terms of focus groups, we are meeting with a partner from Hunger Free Vermont who did a report exactly like this one, but in Vermont, mostly in the Burlington area. We have a meeting with her either this week or next week to talk about how to best organize focus groups so they're more beneficial than hurtful.
Sounds like a great connection.
Yeah. Yep. So I think we hope to have a report done by the end of December. And then some sort of idea of a pilot lined up for January.
Perfect. Kicking off the
We're
new year
also,
would be good.
yeah, we're also Vital Communities, which our development director just announced that she was leaving to go to a different job. And we're
Oh,
also in finance and admin transition right now too. So organizationally, I'm not sure when we'll be able to start getting funding for a pilot program. So
got
we'll
it.
see how that plays out.
That's always tricky when you have a small team and then somebody leaves. So I totally understand that. Great. Well, thanks for keeping us in the loop about that.
I unmuted because I can announce a transition here. Liz Swanton was part of this group, but we have a new director of community health, Beth O'Donnell. So I will be filling her in. I don't know what her schedule will be, but she may be transitioning and kind of joining into this group. So if you
Great. Thanks, Faye.
do that, yep.
Nice. So this is actually a busy month for all of us in regard to Vital Communities and ECE and all of your work. As we mentioned, we were at the Public Health Council meeting this morning. Tomorrow, there's a group of us from Vital Communities meeting with Couch and Sarah V to just make sure our communication is really good about the main focus areas for the Couch Foundation moving forward. I know one of the pieces of that conversation is going to be about what areas of data are they focusing on, and that connects with a meeting that Amy and I attended recently, which is kind of a New Hampshire-based data leadership group. So we want to make sure that we're not working in silos in collecting the same information. And as Anna mentioned, our providers are getting inundated with a lot of surveys, and they just don't have time to do those surveys. So picking out survey questions is part of the work that we're going to be doing. There's also a Couch funding forum happening this week. And then coming up will be graduation for career cultivator participants, as well as Let's Grow Kids. I call it a gathering for Act 76. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the agenda, you can RSVP to attend that meeting as well. One of the questions I had for this group is we've made a lot of progress as a group in regard to the strategic goals and what we're referring to at ECA as kind of the needles, the key things in the haystack that we want to focus on and shed a light on and work on. And the question I had is, do we want to meet, continue to meet the second Monday of each month? We tend to cover a lot at a pretty quick pace rather than 2 meetings a month. I'm also thinking about that starting in December because of all the holidays that are coming up in December and January. I would like to meet November 20th before Thanksgiving, and we really roll into the holidays to make sure that the 20th isn't Thanksgiving, is it? It's early this year. It's the week before. I'm just hungry today. I'm looking forward to that turkey salad. But we can meet on
It's
the
the
20th.
23rd.
Okay, but
Thanksgiving 23rd.
just to check in, figure out what we're gonna work on, and we can meet the second in December, Monday, and then come back like the second Monday in January. And if at any point we feel as though bringing back that second monthly meeting, we could decide to do that as a group. And I would still push out any information that came my way, but that came from one of our members, and I wanted to bring it to the whole group in regard to what your thoughts are. Advocacy is going to be meeting, I think it's like December 6th or 8th. The focus of advocacy is going to be on Week of Young Child, because we have to start focusing on that. April will be here before we know it. What are people's thoughts about that? Meeting the 20th and then meeting the second Monday of every month. Does that work? Amy's a thumbs up. Work for you, Sean, Damien, Julie, Faye. That's good for you. Okay. Yeah, I think that we are in a groove and everyone's really busy. So I want to make sure that your time is well used, but that we do touch base. And if there are any ways that you think of ideas that I can support, always feel free to reach out to me, no problem at all. So we will meet on November 20th. After that, we will update the Zooms so it doesn't confuse people. So Anna, if you would work on that, that would be terrific. And any other business for the meeting today?
Could you just say again what day? So we're going to
Sure.
be meeting the second?
We're going to be
Monday?
meeting November 20th.
Okay.
And then starting in December, make sure, folks, I'm getting the scheduling right, but I think we meet the second Monday of each month at 12:30.
Okay. Thank you.
Or is this the first Monday of this month?
This is the way that it's scheduled is every other day, which is not consistent with steering and advocacy. So if we could pick second or first, that would be helpful.
Which works better for folks, the first Monday of the month or the second Monday of the month? I see people looking at their schedules like,
Doesn't
doesn't matter
make
for you.
any difference.
How about you, Sean?
It
Doesn't
change
matter.
month for me, so it all depends on whether, yeah.
And what are the other meetings? Anna?
Oh goodness, I can never remember. Advocacy, steering is first Friday and third Friday. So advocacy is second Friday and fourth Friday.
I don't have a preference either. I'm happy to do whatever people suggest who are on the committee.
Let's do the second Monday.
Good. Second Monday of each month. And once again, we can always add one if we need to. Thanks for that. Any other business for today? All right, got a busy week ahead of us, so hope everything goes well, and I will connect with you soon. Take care, everybody.